Our top story now, and in her first statement after the release of 11 men, including those convicted of gang raping her and murdering 14 members of her family during the 2002 Gujarat riot, Bilkis Bano on Wednesday said that the move had shaken her faith in justice.
Gargis, 2 days ago, on the 15th of August, the trauma of the past 20 years washed over me again when I heard that the 11 convicted men who devastated my family and my life, took away my 3-year-old daughter, had walked free, is what Bilkis Bano had to say.
She said, I was bereft of words. I'm still numb. Today I can say only this. How can justice for any woman end like this? I trusted the highest courts in our land. I trusted the system. I was learning slowly to live with my trauma. Her husband, Yaqub Rasool, told NDTV that they're now worried about their safety.
बिल्किस को इतने सालों तक नरक झेलना पड़ा है और अब ये फैसला आ गया है। बिल्किस ने इस फैसले पे क्या कहा है?
इतने साल लड़ाई लड़ने के बाद आज जो फैसला जो 15 अगस्त को गुजरात सरकार ने जो आरोपियों को 11 को रिहा कर दिया, उस बारे में हम बहुत सदमे में हैं और हमको उसके बारे में कुछ भी मालूम नहीं था कि ये क्या हुआ है। जब लोकल मीडिया से पता चला हमको कि भाई आपके केस के आरोपियों को छोड़ दिया गया है, तो हम अचानक से एक चौंक गए और हमको पूरे घर में एक बहुत बड़ा शॉट लगा कि क्या हो गया।
2002 में जो हुआ था एक बंद चैप्टर था, एक बंद अध्याय था, जिसे अब फिर से बिल्किस के लिए, आपके लिए खोल दिया गया है।
ये हम अभी तो कहने का मतलब जो भी आज 11 आरोपी को जो छोड़ दिया गया है, उसके बारे में जो हम आज जो इतनी बड़ी अदालत ने और बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट तक उनका सजा का बरकरार रहना और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के उसके अंदर अभी तक का उनका कॉम्पिटिशन कब तक का चुकादा जो हमारे देश के संविधान ने हमको जो सपोर्ट किया था, और आज हम वो सोच रहे हैं कि एक ही झटके में हमारी 18 साल की लड़ाई खत्म हो चुकी है।
क्या अब आप इस कोर्ट में चुनौती देंगे?
देखो, इस वक्त हम बहुत सदमे में हैं। हम बिल्किस की बहुत मायूस है, किसी से अभी बात भी नहीं कर रही है और बहुत मुश्किल है। जो डर वो लोग आरोपी जब पैरोल पे छूट के आ रहे थे तो कम डर था, लेकिन आज वो पूरी तरह छूट गए हैं, तो डर हमारे दिल में और हमको बहुत डर लग रहा है।
In other news, actor Jacqueline Fernandez on Wednesday was named as an accused in a supplementary charge sheet filed in a Delhi court by the Enforcement Directorate, which is probing a money trail in the extortion case linked to Conman Sukesh Chandrashekar.
That's right. The actor now had received a series of expensive gifts from the Conman. The list included designer handbags and cars and diamonds. Jacqueline Fernandez, who's been charge-sheeted, was confronted with Sukesh Chandrashekar in October. Arvind reports about the ED complaint against her.
What is this case all about? Sukesh Chandrasekhar, a con man, he was arrested by Delhi police for cheating or for extorting almost 215 crore from the family of former Ranbaxy promoters. So Enforcement Directorate initiated a money laundering probe in order to find where is this 215 crore that was extorted by Sukesh Chandrasekhar. And during the investigation, the agency got to know that Sukesh Chandrasekhar was in constant touch with Jacqueline Fernandez during this particular relevant time. That is from January 2021 till August 2021 when Sukesh Chandrasekhar was arrested. Till that particular time, the agency got to know that both of them were on constant touch through WhatsApp, and that's where the agency got into in-depth investigation, and that's where the agency got to know that Jacqueline Fernandez almost received gifts from Sukesh Chandrasekhar to the tune of somewhere over 5 crore. These gifts include a 9 lakh Persian cat and also 52 lakh worth a horse and also several luxurious items, also a car, a Mini Cooper car. Along with that, what we are also being told is that Sukesh Chandrasekhar also gave money, allegedly gave money or transferred money to the siblings of Jacqueline Fernandez in both US and also in Australia, along with buying a car or gifting a car to the parents of Jacqueline Fernandez in Dubai or so. And that's where the agency got to know. So almost 6 crore from this 215 crore which was extorted by Sukesh Chandrasekhar were given as gifts to Jacqueline Fernandez when Sukesh Chandrashekar was already inside, lodged in Tihar jail. And according to our sources, Sukesh Chandrashekar used a middleman or a middlewoman in this particular case, that's Pinky Rani, to buy all these gifts and then give it to Jacqueline Fernandez in order to impress her. And that's where the agency did attach assets or fixed deposit of Jacqueline Fernandez to the tune of somewhere around 7 crore. Now the agency has decided to charge sheet her.
Well, news now from Rajasthan, and treatment at 7 different hospitals over 23 days could not save the life of the 9-year-old scheduled caste boy who was allegedly thrashed by his school teacher in Rajasthan for touching a drinking water pot.
Right, Gargi, the 9-year-old succumbed to the injuries on the 13th of August in Ahmedabad. The Rajasthan police has arrested the teacher under the section of murder and the SC/ST Act. Our colleague Saurabh Shukla spoke with the family.
हम इस वक्त जोधपुर से लगभग 250 किलोमीटर दूर सुराना गांव में हैं। इस गांव में, सुराना गांव में एक छात्र की पिटाई की एक शिक्षक ने, क्योंकि छात्र अनुसूचित जाति से है और उसने पानी पीने का मटका जो था उसको छू लिया था स्कूल में। यहाँ का प्राइवेट स्कूल है सरस्वती शिशु मंदिर, वहां पर शैल सिंह नाम के शिक्षक ने पिटाई की थी। पिटाई के बाद जो बच्चा था, छात्र था, उसका कई जगह इलाज चला, उदयपुर, अहमदाबाद, और 14 अगस्त को बच्चे ने दम तोड़ दिया और पिटाई 20 जुलाई को हुई थी। सर, आपका नाम क्या है?
देवाराम
जी, पूरी घटना बताइए विस्तार से हमारे दर्शकों को।
20 तारीख को लड़का बनवा गया था, जो मास्टर मटके में पानी पी दो।
अच्छा,
पानी पी दर बाद में मारपीट की।
बच्चा पानी मटके से पानी पीने गया, वो स्कूल गया था?
स्कूल में।
क्या नाम था आपके बच्चे का?
इंद्र कुमार।
इंद्र कुमार। कौन सी कक्षा में पढ़ता था?
तीसरी में।
तीसरी में पढ़ता था।
हाँ।
तो स्कूल कितनी दूर है यहाँ से?
6 किलोमीटर है।
अच्छा, तो वहां पर गया तो मटके से पानी पी रहा था, तो शिक्षक ने पीटा।
पीटे से नाड़ एक ब्लॉक होगी, नस कान की आँख की, कान की। ये जब भी हाथ पैर काम नहीं करते थे,
हाथ पैर काम नहीं कर रहे थे, उसको हमारा हाथ
हेमरेज बन गया।
हेमरेज हो गया। आप लोग कहाँ कहाँ ले गए? जब बच्चे ने, आपको पता कब चला कि आपके बच्चे को पीटा है? बच्चा आया होगा घर पे, बताया?
शाम को 4 बजे आया। शाम को पता चला मेरे कान के मास्टर मारा है। मैं सूरनाम गयो अस्पताल, बागुड़ा, बिनमाल, डिसा, मैसोना, उदयपुर, गीतांजलि, अहमदाबाद, शिवम में।
तो मतलब आप कम से कम 10 अस्पताल गए, फिर अंत में आप गए अहमदाबाद।
25 दाड़ा में ये घूम रहा, बहुत खर्चा गला, पैसा बहुत गया।
लेकिन बच्चा नहीं।
आप चाचा हैं बच्चे के?
हाँ। मैं इनके से रिलेटिव हूँ, उनका करवाला ही हूँ।
भाई है आपका। तो लगभग आप लोग कितनी जगह गए होंगे?
लगभग तो 7 से 8 जगह हमने हॉस्पिटल चेंज कर दिए, लेकिन कहीं भी कुछ सीधा सेट नहीं हुआ। एंड में हम इसको सिविल अहमदाबाद लेके गए, वहाँ उनकी डेथ हो गई। सर,
डेथ कब? 14 तारीख को हुई?
13 तारीख
13 अगस्त को उनकी मौत हो गई। तो अब आप लोगों के जब 13 तारीख के बच्चे की मौत हुई तो आप लोग यहाँ पर लाए उन्हें। अब सरकार की तरफ से, सरकार कह रही है आपकी मदद कर रहे हैं, क्या संतुष्ट हैं आप?
सरकार कुछ मदद नहीं की अभी तक, तो लाठी चार्ज भी करवाया उल्टा।
तो लाठी चार्ज भी हुआ है?
प्रशासन ने लाठी चार्ज किया परिवार के ऊपर।
दादा को मारा।
लाठी चार्ज क्यों किया?
लाठी चार्ज किया
हमारे डेड बॉडी लेके आए हैं, तो हमारी मांगे थी कि हमारे सगे संबंधी जो दूर दूर के हैं उनको एक बार आने दो, जो क्रियाक्रम है हमारे जिसमें है वो निभाएंगे, फिर हम दफनाएंगे। तो प्रशासन का दबाव था कि इनको जल्दी से करो, इसको दफनाओ। इस बात पे अड़े, उस बात से लेके इन्होंने लाठीचार्ज किया। लाठीचार्ज में पीर परिवार के किसी के सिर में टाका है, किसी के पैर में लगी।
गांव के लोग तो अब ये कह रहे हैं, जो हेडमास्टर है स्कूल का, कि वो तो आपस में बच्चों की लड़ाई हुई तो इसलिए पीटा।
गलत बात है एकदम, मटके की बात है,
मटके की बात है।
बिल्कुल सर, ये सरकार को गुमराह कर रही है।
नहीं, वो कह रहे हैं कि 2 लड़के आपस में लड़ाई कर रहे थे, इसलिए मास्टर ने दोनों लड़कों के मारा। और उस स्कूल में ये कह रहे हैं कि 4 अनुसूचित जाति के शिक्षक और पढ़ाते हैं और बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं अनुसूचित जाति के, वो ये कह रहे हैं कि हम लोग कभी भेदभाव नहीं करते हैं। वो लोग आरोप लगा रहे हैं कि आप लोग झूठ बोल रहे हैं।
शायद उनके ऊपर भी दबाव है प्रशासन का, गाँव वालों का।
ठाकुर का दबाव है, ठाकुर का दबाव है।
आगे क्या चाहते हैं आप, कैसे न्याय की आप क्या उम्मीद करते हैं?
हम चाहते हैं कि हमको न्याय मिले, पूरी से जांच हो जाए।
जांच की मांग कर रहे हैं। पुलिस ने उस शिक्षक को तो गिरफ्तार कर लिया है, क्या उससे संतुष्ट हैं आप?
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि सरकार के ऊपर भी शायद किसी का दबाव है क्या, जो मतलब पीड़ित परिवार के ऊपर लाठीचार्ज कर दिया।
लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि कान में पहले से चोट थी उसके।
नहीं, कुछ नहीं, गलत है, कुछ नहीं थी। कोई भी मैं हॉस्पिटल में देखो कागज वगैरह तो पहनना तो चाहिए ना, ये बात गलत है।
तो हमने सुना पीड़ित परिवार की बात। इनका कहना है कि बच्चे को पहले से कान में कोई समस्या नहीं थी। वो अच्छा खासा उस दिन स्कूल गया था 20 तारीख को, और उसको शिक्षक ने इसलिए पीटा क्योंकि वो मटके से पानी पी रहा था। तो फिलहाल पुलिस ने आरोपी शिक्षक को गिरफ्तार किया है और राजनेताओं का आना जारी है यहाँ पर। लेकिन सवाल यही है कि हम भले ही एक नए भारत की बात करते हैं, पर इस नए भारत में अब भी जातिवाद भारी है।
In other news now, hundreds of farmers on Wednesday left for Lakhimpur Kheri in UP from Sangrur and Barnala districts by rail, private buses and other vehicles, and they will be staging a 3-day protest at Lakhimpur seeking justice for the victims of Lakhimpur Kheri violence.
The farmers have left for Lakhimpur Kheri under the leadership of Bharatiya Kisan Union from Sangrur and Barnala districts on SKM's call. On the 3rd of October 2021, 8 people, including 4 farmers and a journalist, had died during that violence that took place in Lakhimpur Kheri. The farmers were protesting against the 3 farm laws. Ashish Mishra, the son of Union Minister of State for Home, Ajay Mishra, is the main accused in that case, Gargi.
That's right. Ghazali joins us on the phone line for more. And Ghazali, so a 3-day protest. Tell us about the farmers' demands.
See, the farmers' primary demand is certainly about fixing the MSP or legalizing the MSP for all the 23 crops. The other main demand being, since they are protesting in Lakhimpur Kheri, is to dismiss Mr. Ajay Mishra, who is the Union State Home Minister. The Union Minister in the Home Ministry. And why this protest has started now, the relevance is that the government has constituted a committee to discuss about the MSP or fixing MSP for maximum crops. And in that particular committee, many pro-government voices have been included. And this is exactly what has enraged the Farmers Union in Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. And they have boycotted. They have not nominated their members for the committee. Now that committee is meeting on 22nd of August for its first meeting, and maybe to send out a message to the government that the farmers have still not forgotten, or they still not have sort of ignored the entire issue of MSP. Farmers from across Punjab, Haryana and UP have now reached in Lakhimpur Kheri to not only protest against the Lakhimpur Kheri incident, but also against the entire promises of legalizing MSP and whatever the communication which happened between the farmers and the government of India in last year when they lifted that agitation near the Delhi border. So maybe it's there to just to reignite that entire process and to renegotiate with the government over the issue of legalizing MSP for the crops.
All right, Ghazali, thanks so much for joining us with those details.
In other news, Andhra Pradesh's ruling YSR Congress has filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court asking to join the proceedings in the case regarding the distribution of freebies, Gargi.
An elected government, the petition says, has a responsibility to implement schemes to alleviate poverty and give people better healthcare, education, employment opportunities. Though such expenditure is often classified as revenue expenditure, it has a long-term impact in asset creation and improvement of quality of life, is what the YSR Congress has argued in their petition.
Right, Gargi, the debate over freebies reached the Supreme Court with a petition by the BJP's Ashwini Upadhyay, which has challenged the promise of freebies at the time of elections.
And so far, Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party, known for providing free water and power in states it rules in Tamil Nadu's DMK, have appealed to join the proceedings. In their petitions, both parties have vehemently opposed the BJP leader's stance. Welcome back. News now from Madhya Pradesh. And 58-year-old Sirmaur Janpad Panchayat CEO SK Mishra has been seriously injured in an attack by armed men in Rewa. Now, this alleged attack happened just a few hours after the local BJP MLA KP Tripathi had a heated exchange of words over the phone with him.
Right, Gargi, the audio clip of the purported conversation has gone viral just an hour before the alleged attack. The attack, which happened on Tuesday evening, was allegedly carried out by 18 to 20 armed men, including a local BJP leader believed to be close to the ruling party's MLA.
That's right. Let's listen into what he had to say.
कितने लोग थे सर?
15-20 लोग थे।
किसी को पहचानते हैं सर आप?
3 लोगों को तो मैं पहचाना।
कौन थे सर?
एक बनकुइया मंडल अध्यक्ष था, कोई शुक्ला है बनकुइया मंडल अध्यक्ष
जी,
एक विवेक गौतम था।
विवेक गौतम?
हाँ, एक जो है विनय शुक्ला है। ये 3:30 बजे की मेरी घटना है। मेरे साथ कोई था नहीं, मेरा ड्राइवर था। उन लोगों ने 3-4 गाड़ियां सड़क में प्याला लगा दिया। हम कहीं जा नहीं सकते थे। हम गेट को अंदर से लॉक किए थे, हालांकि फिर उन्होंने गाड़ी के शीशे तोड़े। उसके बाद घुस करके 10 गेट पे हमको बाहर निकाल दिया। फिर ताबड़तोड़ लाठी डंडा लात घूसा मारा है। ये
काहे से मारपीट की है सर?
लाठी डंडे थे, डंडा।
कितनी की संख्या में रहे होंगे काहे?
ये 15-20 लोग रहे होंगे, क्योंकि 4-5 गाड़ियाँ थी।
धारा 147, 148, 149, 307, 353, 332, 341, 342, 294 का प्रकरण पंजीबद्ध किया गया और उनकी डॉक्टरी कराई गई। वर्तमान में टीम गठी हुई है जो फुटेज और अन्य चीज़ों का कलेक्शन कर रही है। साइबर सेल भी जो है पुलिस अधीक्षक महोदय ने भेजा है, उस पर काम चल रहा है। ये विवेचना का विषय है, अभी उसकी विवेचना हो रही है। विवेचना में जो तथ्य सामने आएंगे, जो साक्ष्य सामने आएगी, तब उसके अनुसार कार्रवाई।
आरोपी गिरफ्तार नहीं हुई?
प्रयास जारी है, अभी साक्ष्य का संकलन हो रहा है, विवेचना चल रही है। साक्ष्य एकत्र करने के बाद जो आरोपी होंगे उनको गिरफ्तार किया जाएगा।
All right, in other news now, on Wednesday, a huge controversy erupted over Urban Development Minister Hardeep Puri's tweet saying Rohingyas will get refugee status and a roof over their head in India.
Right, Gargi, soon after that huge embarrassment for Hardeep Puri, the government's other ministry, Home Affairs, contradicted and denied the claims that were made by Hardeep Puri. Later, the Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister tweeted the MHA statement, calling it the correct position. Puri had earlier outlined new provisions for the Rohingyas, signalling a potential change in the government's critical stance towards the refugee group from Myanmar. The BJP-led centre was secretly trying to give permanent residency to Rohingya refugees in the national capital, is what Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia allegedly rejecting the Home Ministry's claim that it was the Delhi government's proposal instead. And reacting to the ministry's statement, Mr. Sisodia said in a tweet, the central government, which was not tired of describing the news about shifting of Rohingyas as its achievement in the morning, has now started putting the responsibility of it on the Delhi government after the Aam Aadmi Party opposed such a step.
All right, so major embarrassment for Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. And with that, time for us to slip into a short break.
Lots more coming up on the other side.
Welcome back. The big political news from the BJP Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan were dropped from the BJP's top decision-making body yesterday in a shake-up in which BS Yediyurappa and Devendra Fadnavis landed coveted spots.
Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is a glaring exclusion after buzz that he would be rewarded with a place among the party's decision-makers. The BJP's parliamentary board shake-up with 6 new faces, including the first, a Sikh representative, this is a signal as far as the generational and political shift in the highest ranks of the BJP in the Narendra Modi-Amit Shah era.
See, it's a very big responsibility, parliamentary board and also election committee and other thing. Entire South India must tour, that is the expectation from the Prime Minister. I will try to go around in the southern India and build up the party.
JP नड्डा जी ने संसदीय बोर्ड की जो टीम बनाई है वो बहुत योग्य, समर्पित और विजनरी है और कई श्रेष्ठ कार्यकर्ताओं को नई टीम को भी सम्मिलित किया गया है.
It's really surprising the manner in which BJP has dropped senior leader Nitin Gadkari from the parliamentary board. Nitin Gadkari is somebody who is liked by millions of the BJP workers because he delivers on the promises. He has been credited with construction of roads across the country, and he is considered to be close to the RSS. And traditionally the BJP has always accommodated former presidents in the parliamentary board. For example, Amit Shah is there, Rajnath Singh is there, but Nitin Gadkari won't be there. So it's quite surprising the way he has been dropped from the parliamentary board. Another surprise is the way Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has been shown the door. He was there for the past 8-9 years in the parliamentary board, which is the highest decision-making body of the BJP, but he is also dropped along with Mr. Gadkari. And another surprise is the inclusion of former Karnataka CM B.S. Yedurappa, who was on the verge of retirement. In fact, he was asked to resign from the CM post because he was already above 75 years of the age. And BJP has an unwritten rule that those above 75 won't be active in the active politics. But he is now being brought back to the central politics. Of course, it is being done keeping the Karnataka elections in mind, which are scheduled next year. But the way Yedurappa has been accommodated, of course, it raises several questions. Has it been done to please the Lingayat community in the state? That's the big question. Another surprise element is inclusion of Sarvanand Sonowal, the former Chief Minister of Assam, who had vacated his seat for Hemanta Biswa Sarma, and he has been given this post at the parliamentary board. And apart from that, BJP has also reconstituted the Central Election Committee, and Mr. Devendra Fadnavis has been brought in the Central Election Committee apart from Om Mathur and Bhupendra Yadav. So BJP hopes that with the reconstitution of these two key bodies, the party will be gearing up for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. And of course, it also shows that how the grip of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is tight on not only on the government but also on the party.
Switching tracks to sports news now. While the Indian government is scrambling to save a prestigious women's tournament by getting the ban on Football Federation by the world body, the country's best women's team are stuck in Tashkent.
Right, a big setback for them. They've been hit by the ban and hours after they reached there to take part in the Women's Club Championship.
23 women footballers are stuck at a Tashkent tournament because of Tuesday's ban on Indian football by FIFA, the global body. The Gokulam FC team from Kerala reached the games where they found out about the ban, which meant they can't play in the international tournament. Since the ban, the Indian government is already scrambling to save the Under-17 Women's World Cup. India is to host it in October, but as of now, that too stands cancelled. The government told the Supreme Court that it's already had 2 rounds of talks with FIFA to have the ban revoked. The court insisted the government should take proactive measures to hold the World Cup. But the sticking point are elections to the Indian football body, AIFF. FIFA wants India to hold elections but disagrees with the poll proposal by court panel. Elections are scheduled for 28th of August with 36 voting associations. But the voting system is unacceptable to FIFA, which wants not 50% but 25% eminent players in executive committee.
What were we?
The petitioner in the case told Supreme Court ex-AIFF chief Praful Patel seems to have orchestrated the ban with help of other members, but there was no reaction from Patel. Unless FIFA accepts the draft constitution from Supreme Court's panel, elections won't be held. Unless elections are held, the fate of many teams like Gokulam FC hangs in the balance. In New Delhi, Rika Roy for NDTV.
In other news now, Ratan Tata, who steered the $128 billion Tata Group for decades, has now backed a startup that connects senior citizens with young graduates for meaningful friendships.
Right, Gargi and emotional Ratan Tata went on to say, you don't know what it's like to be lonely.
You don't know what it's like to be lonely until you spend time alone, wishing for companionship.
Companionship for senior citizens. That's what Goodfellows, a brand new startup funded by Ratan Tata, intends to provide. Founded by Shantanu Naidu, a fifth-generation Tata employee and a general manager at the company.
Companionship means different things to different people. Goodfellows.
Goodfellows aims to match young, educated graduates with high emotional intelligence and empathy with senior citizens who want someone to talk to, watch a movie with, or even just go for a walk.
I wish all of you great happiness that you derive from what you have started. I'm sure it will grow in intensity and grow in terms of image.
The startup has so far received 800 applications for graduates looking to work at Goodfellows. 20 of these graduates have since been employed as part of the pilot run in Mumbai.
And billionaire industrialist, the Adani Group chairman, Gautam Adani, has been accorded Z category VIP security cover of CRPF commandos by the central government official. This has happened on Wednesday, Gargi.
That's right. Now, the security cover under the central list was accorded to him on the basis of a threat perception report prepared by central security agencies, according to sources. And they said that the All India cover will be on a payment basis and expected to cost about 15 to 20 lakh per month. Now, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar said India is closely monitoring any development in its neighborhood which has a bearing on its security as a high-tech Chinese research vessel docked at a strategic port in Sri Lanka.
He said during a news conference hosted by the foreign ministers of Thailand and India in Bangkok, two ministers met on Wednesday to discuss the areas of cooperation including tourism, trade and cyber security, Gargi.
What happens in our neighborhood, any developments which have a bearing on our security obviously is of interest to us. I think our spokesman had said some time ago that we obviously monitor any development which has a bearing on our interests very, very carefully.
In other news, as India takes part in Russia's Vostok 2022 military exercises, U.S. state spokesperson Ned Price said that U.S. acknowledges India's historical relationship with Russia and that it will take time to reorient policies away from Russia. So, U.S. observation coming in on those exercises.
In other news, a huge explosion struck a mosque in the Khair Khana area of Kabul during the evening prayers on Wednesday, with many feared dead or injured. The police said there were multiple casualties but did not say how many. One Taliban intelligence official told Reuters that as many as 35 people have been wounded.
That's right. Very tragic news coming in. In fact, Al Jazeera quoted an unidentified official as giving a total death count of 20. Witnesses told Reuters the powerful explosion was heard in a northern Kabul neighborhood, shattering windows in nearby buildings, and ambulances rushed to the spot. The imam of the mosque was among those killed, according to the reports coming in.
Welcome back. The second season of the Emmy-winning cop drama Delhi Crime releases on the 26th of this month, and ahead of its release, a lot of buzz there, Gargi.
That's right, and the show's actors also spoke to NDTV about what makes the show tick and what it was like working with a new director.
Hi, I'm Anand Singh. A very warm welcome to this special conversation with the star cast of Delhi Crime Season 2. A very warm welcome to all of you. My first question, last season won an Emmy Award. What was the experience like? Shefali, let's start with you.
I mean, was blown, but I would have been surprised, and I'm not trying to be preposterous, but I would have been surprised if it hadn't won.
Rajesh, did you see that coming?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मुझे भी लगा था.
हाँ मतलब
मतलब जब nomination हो गया ना, then I thought कि we have a pretty good chance.
Rasika, what was your reaction? Were you as humble and modest as your co-stars?
I was very excited when we were nominated, and then funnily enough I totally forgot about it. And
didn't we speak that night?
No, I mean before the award was announced. In fact, I had a 1-hour conversation with Richie Mehta, the director and creator of season 1, and we talked about all our creative issues at that time with other projects that we were working on, and totally forgot to discuss the Emmys. And the next day when we won the Emmy, I called him and I said, hey, I know we forgot to talk about this, but congratulations to us.
Okay, so if you have to brief this entire season into one line, what would be that one line?
I think मतलब मेरे ख्याल से Delhi Crime का जो soul है ना, soul है, it's about punishment versus justice, I think.
Shefali, in this season, there's one scene where you are returning from the crime scene, and on your way back, you get glimpses of what you just seen. So, you know, what kind of preparation went into that aspect where characters like these go through PTSD?
I hope that in today's time and age, that is considered as a big problem, and I hope that people are looking at it and giving solutions to anybody who works in such high stress area. But as far as that, this is 2013, because Nirbhaya happened in 2012, DC2 is 2013. I don't know if that was such an important and underlined part that should have been looked into always. But what you can notice from the way season 2, you see the episode, you realize that this is something they do every day, unfortunately. So they're becoming a little, of course they have the same compassion, but they can detach from there emotionally slightly, because also the way Vartika looks at it, the way she looked at the first crime in DC1 is very different from the way she approaches this one. Because here it's like, I do this every day. And okay, it has happened. Am I going to spend my energy feeling miserable about it, or I have to step back and do damage control? When she's talking to Bhupinder, or when you see her alone, you realize what is going on with her. And it's taking a toll on everyone. You know, honestly, because you brought this up, I feel that even if there was counseling, I think the one person she would talk to is Bhupi. Like, because nobody understands it the way he does. He does. He's in the same situation. He's fighting the same crimes. He deals with it with as much. And the difference, like when you were asking Rajesh, you know, there is a simplicity of this man.
I'll also ask you what I asked Rajesh, that one key takeaway of this entire season.
In Delhi Crime 1, all the cops became heroes. In Delhi Crime 2, I mean, at least I can talk about Vartika. She becomes human. She makes flaws, and she doesn't shy away from accepting them and correcting them, even if it's at the cost of her own self.
Rasika, your one-line description about the season?
It is the story of a crime, but it is about the story of the people who are investigating it. And it is about the smaller, subtle discriminations in our society, which in fact lead to the bigger crimes.
So we have a new director this season. Definitely the overall theme remains the same, which is the team solving crime. But was it different working with an absolutely new director?
It is always wonderful to work with fabulous talent. And the germ, the soul of DC will never change. But it is a different crime. It's a different narrative. Like I said, there was a crime and these characters came in. The second one, we're picking up from where, as far as the characters are concerned. It's a different creator. It's his storytelling. It's a different DOP. So the germ and the soul won't change. But it's so exciting to see. So it's like, you know, it's like trying to compare my two children. It's not possible. They come from the same core, but they're two very different individuals. And I'm so proud of both of them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect note to end.
Yes, madam, sir.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, madam, sir. Yes, madam, sir. Copy.
With that, we've come to an end of this conversation. Thank you so very much, guys. And once again, congratulations and all the best for Delhi Crime Season 2.